Welcome to 1 year of devotion. This word devotion has been dropping into my meditation for some time now, and I have looked at it and I have felt into it, and I've never been ready for it until now. So today is day one. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about, what is devotion? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this for a whole year? What does it mean exactly? What will my day look like? How do I feel that this is going to benefit me and everyone who listens to this video series? So first of all, what is devotion? I feel like devotion is a pledge, a dedication to something more than you. And so I am the personality, Eleni, and the character that I'm playing in this world, but I'm also greater than that, just like you are. There's a soul in there that has so much power that it has been unrealized. And so what devotion is to me is devoting myself to a force greater than me. You can call it God, you can call it source, you can call it whatever you like, but it's a force that's way greater than me. Basically, asking the small self, the false self, the personality self, the ego self to step aside. And so it's taken me quite a while to get to this point where I feel like I am ready to do this. And never did I think I was going to do this for a year. But this is what I've decided. So why 1 year? Why am I doing this for 1 year? Because 1 year feels like it's devotion, feels like it's commitment, feels like there are no excuses. And so devotion to me is all about getting ready to embrace the uncomfortable and then embracing the uncomfortable. So all of the things that keep me comfortable, I'm going to basically let go of. I will be talking to you specifically about what that looks like. And so I want to be aligned to my higher self. I no longer want my smaller self to run the show. And I know that for as long as the smaller self runs the show in all its comforts and all the things that it loves and enjoys on planet Earth, then I'm really not going to feel that I am co-creating with the universe at a much larger scale. And so let me give you a bit of context as to how this has all come about. So quite a while ago, many years ago, I started to recognize that there is something greater than me operating in this world, that everything that I had been taught is not necessarily the truth, in that things started to happen for me which I recognized I didn't create, and yet they were too miraculous. There were too many coincidences to just label them as coincidences. I knew that I was being led. I knew that I was being assisted. I knew that I was being helped with and from the universe, God, definitely a force greater than me. I first started to feel this as a hypnotherapist when I realized that some of the words that were coming out of my mouth, I just didn't feel like I was clever enough to say them. And I knew they were coming from somewhere else. You know that feeling when you're completely in flow? When things just come out of your mouth and you don't have to think about them and they come out in the perfect way. And so this would happen to me when I was hypnotizing my clients. And I would leave the session and think, wow, that was incredible. That was spectacular. How on earth did that happen? Because I've always thought that I was the kind of person that wasn't very quick in thinking of things. Like I would be the kind of person that would think of things later on, but not in the moment. And so I knew that it wasn't me. And then all these other events started happening in my life, which showed me that there is definitely a greater force here that is taking care of me, that is protecting me, that is leading me. Every time I trusted in this greater force, there would be miraculous events that would happen in my career, in my personal life, basically everywhere. And in 2021, so a few years ago, I had a spiritual awakening where I went through the veil and I saw that the ego self was actually running the show. So even though I had been led and I had been protected and I had been taken care of, It was actually my ego identity, my personality that was still stressing, that was still thinking that it needed to work really hard in order to achieve results, that was still running towards this destination called financial freedom and really running myself ragged. And so then after that massive spiritual awakening, I started to surrender and let go of all the things that were keeping me really imprisoned in the matrix and imprisoned in a world that wasn't the truth, that wasn't real, that is the illusion. For 4 years now, I've let go of I had 2 businesses, and I let go of the most successful business, my training arm. I stopped all the things that I was doing and really started to trust the universe in leading me forward and, well, what's next for me? Not getting hung up about planning or goals or how I'm going to pay the bills, but just really knowing that I don't know what's next, but it's all going to be fine and it's all going to work out. I was on that kind of path for a long time, 4 years, and it really did get me quite depressed and sad because I want to be in the arena. I want to be helping people awaken to the truth of who they really are. I want to share my truth, but I just didn't feel that I had the ability to step into the arena in a real powerful way. And I didn't know what that was. And so when you know you've got a big purpose to do, but you don't know what to do, you don't know how it's going to look like, and you're just simply trusting and yet no money is coming in, it's a very, very challenging and difficult place to be in. Very challenging and difficult. And during this time, I ran a couple of retreats, which didn't go as I expected. I wrote a book, which I hadn't yet published. I started 3 podcasts, 2 of which I closed down. And so there was a lot of activity still, but still no focus, no direction, no purpose, and no complete alignment to God. And so every time I meditated and asked for help in terms of, okay, where to next? Like, what do I do next? I'm not going to do anything that's not soul-led. I'm not going to do anything that's not feeling completely aligned with the highest version of myself. I'm just not going to. So what is next? Please help me. And this word devotion would always come forward to me. And I knew what it meant, but I wasn't really prepared to do it because it meant things like eating a certain way, waking up at certain times, being completely dedicated to the path. And being completely dedicated to the path means that you will let go of things that you are finding fulfilling in the moment, but not in the long run. Definitely not in the long run. I worked in the corporate world for 22 years as an economist. I then started my own business in 2010, quickly grew that business to the world's first global hypnotherapy clinic, with 22 clinics across the globe, including the United States, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and Australia. And so it was a really, really difficult period of time because I worked very, very hard. My adrenals were completely shot. I felt exhausted because I was burnt out. There were some periods of the year where I would literally be going from city to city on a daily basis to present my half-day masterclass, which led to my retreats. I would visit the States 4 times a year. I had the honour of being awarded Hypnotist of the Year in 2018 by my peers in Chicago. And so life was really busy for me. I'd be presenting from anywhere from London to New York to Boston to Chicago to Las Vegas. It was really about the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I had planned my next year from the year before. So October of every year, my next year was completely planned. I mean, every single week was planned. I wrote a book, which I published, called Mindset Dominance, and it was all about using the mind to achieve what you needed to achieve. And so after that period of time where I had literally seen thousands of clients, I had literally trained thousands of practitioners in the system that I had developed, the HypnoFit therapy system and business system, I was exhausted. But I had built this system up to be successful. I had my own trainers, I had my own system, I had my own processes, and it was very difficult to let it go. And the reason that I let it go was because I just felt misaligned. I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. And it wasn't because what I was selling was not of the highest integrity. It absolutely was the highest integrity. There were thousands of practitioners that were able to use these skills to affect thousands more people. And so the trickle effect was enormous. But I started to feel, every time I was running a half-day workshop, I started to feel sick in my tummy, which told me that I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know why I can't do this anymore, but I just can't do this hustle culture anymore. It's getting me sick. And I don't know what's next, but it's not this. And so slowly, I let it go, which was very difficult. It was a 7-figure business. I'd invested all my time, all my resources back into the business. So even though it was earning 7 figures, I had invested all of it back. I didn't know what was next, but I trusted, I let go, I gave it up. I then started to run a couple of retreats that were of a spiritual orientation, but they didn't take off. And I didn't know why they didn't take off. And I was really angry with the universe. Like, I'm doing the work. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm helping people awaken from the illusion. Why isn't this working? Why haven't I got more people coming to my retreats? Then I realized that it's because I was too tired. I was too exhausted. And I really just needed to retreat and rest, which was a very difficult place to be in because I still had a huge program of lack where, well, where's the money going to come from? How am I going to pay the bills? And just not knowing what my future looks like and not knowing what's next. And having a very large mortgage that I still needed to take care of. And during this time, I ended up selling my large house and actually paying off my son's mortgage and trusting that the universe would provide for me, as it has done in various ways. So it hasn't provided for me in the ways that many people think that they need to be provided for, like people buying programs for me or me creating programs or whatever, but it came in other ways. For example, I thought I was going to buy a second house, and so the bank to actually give me the loan for that. But I didn't buy the second house. Instead, I am living off the proceeds of that loan, and that takes an incredible amount of trust to do that. Very humbling because it's not the way you expect to be paying your bills. So of course, I've got this clinic in Melbourne, which is a self-run clinic, which I have built up to a point where it is completely self-managed, and that pays for the mortgage, but it certainly doesn't pay for a lot of my other expenses. So I decided that I'm not going to live in lack, that I know that I'm provided, that I know that the universe will give me whatever I need exactly when I need it. And that was proven to me again and again and again and again. I've got so many stories on this. And I know that in this first episode, I'm giving a lot of general information, but as we go through the episodes, I will be giving more detail in terms of specific stories. So this is just really like the context of why I'm starting this 1 year of devotion. Because I've been living off this loan and still doing all the things that I want to do. I've just come back from Kenya on a retreat with Laurie Ladd. I went business class for the first time internationally. These are all drawings that I've made from the loan in order to live this way. I've got 2 homes that I'm paying bills for. This one in Adelaide, which is located on the beach, and then the one in Melbourne, which has my clinic. And so there's a lot of expenses in my life. I have not cut back on my standard of living, but my earnings have definitely been cut quite a bit. But I trust that this is where I'm at, and I needed to have this kind of rest. And I needed to get to this point. I didn't know that I was going to do this 1 year of devotion before last night. So last night I meditated, and it just came to me that no more making excuses, that you do need to step up. You do need to live as the powerful creator that you are in order for all the magic and miracles to continue rolling your way like they used to. But this time, instead of being led by the ego, to be led by the soul. And so what does this mean to me? What does devotion look like for me? So one of the main things that I believe keep us small is scrolling. So scrolling, our attention is so low that it's shorts that have the biggest impact, because people can't stay attentive for more than 90 seconds. And so these little bite-sized bits of information that keep coming about everything that just keep us distracted and just keep us small. And I'm one of those people. So I'm one of those people that is keen to know what's going on with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and Married at First Sight and Donald Trump or whatever. But I'm also very aware that it's a distraction. So even though I've been looking at these things as little entertainment pieces, they've still kept me in the loop of being distracted from connecting into my higher self. And so the first thing that I am going to step into in terms of this 1 year of devotion is zero scrolling. Zero scrolling. So what I have done before is just deleted the apps from my phone, and then I put them back on, delete them, put them back on. It's a joke really, like I delete them every day and then put them back on every day. I know that those social media apps keep me tied to the smallness rather than allowing me to really jump into the bigness of who I truly am. So that's the first thing that's going to go, is no scrolling. The next thing is the things that I love that keep me all nice and comfortable, they need to go. I need to get uncomfortable. I need to be initiated. So one example is food. I love my food. I'm obsessed with food. I'm always thinking about food. Food has been my obsession for as long as I can remember. I just love always having something in my mouth. And so, even when I've just eaten breakfast, I want to eat straight after, and then straight after, and then straight after. And so what I've decided to do, and this is day 1, is for 4 days I'm going to do a water fast. I have done a water fast before for 10 days, but then I became even more obsessed with food. But this time it's going to be different. I'm going to do a water fast for 4 days, and then after that I make a pledge for the whole year to eat 1 meal a day. And in that 1 meal I can eat whatever I like. There's no restriction in terms of carbs or whatever. I can eat whatever I like in that 1 meal, but there's only 1 meal, and that's it. And I'm going to be completely focused on that meal. I'm going to give thanks to that meal. I'm just going to eat whatever I want. 1 meal a day, no snacking, no snacking. Also, no sugar. So that's a big one for me. I have let go of chocolate, which was my biggest addiction, but now no sugar. Also, no alcohol. I have let go of alcohol before for 3.5 years. I have restarted it because I just like the occasional glass of Chardonnay when I'm out for dinner. But I'm going to dedicate 1 year of no alcohol. And that's not because one glass is detrimental to me, but it's hard. It's hard for me to let go of all the things that I love so that I feel into what it means to have real joy. So it's not so that I can suffer that I'm doing this. It's so that I can access a higher level of happiness, a higher level of fulfillment that I have experienced in bite sizes during plant medicine ceremonies and during moments of dedicated meditation. So I know what it feels like to really feel fulfilled, to really feel the purity of pure love and unconditional love. And that's what I want to access by letting go of the things that just give you temporary happiness. They don't give you long-term fulfillment. And I'm somebody who always has FOMO, always has a fear of missing out. So this is good for me because I always want to try everything. I always want to get right in there. I don't want to miss out. So this is going to be really good for me. The other thing that I'm going to do is, this is easy because I don't have a TV anyway, but no Netflix, no Gaia. I'm going to wake up at 4:30 a.m. every morning, no matter what, 4:30 a.m. every morning. I know I can do this. When I used to be a gym junkie, I used to wake up at 5:06 a.m. every morning, no matter what. And then I just stopped doing it. And now, because my life is so flexible, I tend to wake up whatever time I want to wake up. But I'm going to go back to 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and I want to be asleep by 9:30 p.m. every night. And so I am going to show up every week for 1 year to give you an update of how I am going. So why 1 year? Because that is devotion. It's not just a 30-day, 90-day experiment. That is devotion. What happens after a year? What will the universe bring me? I'm not doing this as the universe brings me anything. I don't have any expectations. I just know that once I step into the highest version of me, by letting go of all the things that keep me small, I am certain that miracles will happen in my life. I'm certain that I will attract effortless abundance. And so let's just see what happens. So what I'm doing is I'm inviting you in for the journey to subscribe and to watch this journey every week to see where I'm at. Today is day 1. So the next time I speak to you, I would have already done my 4 days of water. And I am going to Brisbane for a Professional Speakers Association convention where there is going to be food from morning till night, and I have to choose which meal I'm actually going to have every single day. And I don't like missing out. I don't like missing out on anything, and I like to have the occasional drink at those things, but I'm not going to do it. I am devoted to getting closer to the truth, getting closer to reality, getting closer to God. And this is an initiation for me. So this devotion is something that I feel like I need to do to step up into the most expansive and highest version of who I really am. And so I'm inviting you for the journey. I'm excited to be speaking on, well, what's going to happen? And I'm accountable now because I am putting it out there that I'm doing this for a solid year. I know that we are all taken care of and that we all have a path and that we all have a purpose and a mission here. I'm ready to step into the arena. I now feel that I have the strength to do what it takes to step up, to speak out, and to be completely aligned with the truth of who I am, so that I can influence others to step into the truth of who they are. Sending you so much love. Yeah, I love you so much. And just remember this, always, always, always live in truth. See you later.